Napoleon Bonaparte Con. Napoleon was born in Corsica in 1769, next to Italy, but still, it was part of France. To hurt the British, Napoleon decided to attack Egypt, which was then a British colony. They didn't count with the fact that when they got there, the British army was waiting for them. All the French boats were burned down, and Napoleon fled back to France, leaving his army suffering in Egypt. The troops kept on marching until they came up to the Nile River, where they drank so much water that most of them got water poisoning and died. When Napoleon came back from Egypt, France was being governed by the Council of Five. One of the directors came up to them to see if they wanted to overthrow the government. Two members, Talleyrand and Joseph Fouché, allied and formed a plan with Napoleon, which was the coup d'etat. It took place during the 10th of November, 1799. The two members, followed by the first consul, Napoleon Bonaparte, formed the consulate formed by three members. These three members were the ones who helped Napoleon dissolve the Council of Five in 1802. When Napoleon is counseled for life, in 1804, Napoleon proclaims himself as an emperor. He was the first emperor of France, so it was the start of the First French Empire. Napoleon's coronation was located in Notre Dame in Paris, France. He was then arrived in a carriage pulled by 6 horses, and on that carriage was a golden N, symbolizing Napoleon. He was accompanied by his brother Louis, the King of Holland, and his brother Joseph, King of Spain. He also had several other brothers and sisters: Caroline, the Queen of Naples; Pauline, Princess of Italy; Carlo, he was a lawyer; Jerome, the King of Westphalia; Letitia; Lucien, a politician; and Eliza, the Grand Duchess of Tuscany. During his coronation, when the Pope was about to put the crown on his head, Napoleon took the crown, meaning, "I'm not receiving the power, I'm taking the power from God's hands." From that moment on, the First French Empire commenced. Napoleon was one of the greatest military minds ever, and he was also a superior leader. Napoleon created a tax system, sewer systems, a central banking system, and even created a system of higher education. Napoleon also drafted the Napoleonic Code. This was a code of basic civil laws. France turned their back on Spain, who were recently their allies, and declared war. France makes peace with the Catholic Church. The Church took a lot of land from the French in the French Revolution, so he promises making the Catholic Church France's official religion if the land seized in the French Revolution does not return to the Church's hands. This way he made the French happy and made him look as a great leader, even though he was not following his own beliefs. He pretends in believing in the Catholic Church, but he shows he does not in various occasions. Napoleon invaded most parts of Europe, killing hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians in the process. This was especially present in Spain. At the end of the Napoleonic War, France lost 500,000 civilians, 3 million soldiers, and her economy was shattered due to this poor decision-making in 1815. Napoleon authorized looting and plundered of conquered towns throughout Europe, stole art and cultural items from captured cities. He seized power in an illegal way at the beginning of his reign. Napoleon's fall was due to the continental system and to the nationalism that existed in the dependent states like Spain. The continental system was to hurt Great Britain with trade. His plan was to forbid his empire with Great Britain. This plan failed because Great Britain still traded with Middle East and Latin America, and Russia which was an allied state. This was why in 1812 Napoleon decided to go to Russia with 450,000 soldiers to defeat the Russians. However, the Russians retreat and burn everything, leaving nothing to Napoleon's army to eat or survive. Then the Russian winter set in and left the army with no supplies. Moscow was burned, so they decided to go back. On the way back, Russia attacks with Great Britain and Austria. By the time they get out of Russia, where there were only 10,000 men, the rulers from Great Britain, Austria, Russia, and Prussia exiled Napoleon to Elba. However, he escaped, and his last battle was in Waterloo with Great Britain and Prussia. He lost, so he was sent to his final exile on St. Helena, and where he died of stomach cancer. His tomb is now located in Paris.